Well, welcome to another episode of the Wildrunners podcast. You've got myself, Colin, again, and Dan is here with us as well. Sven still off doing his ultra training, FKTs, MIA. Who knows where Sven is? But we're really pleased to have Daisy Hulton online, or better known as is it running Daisy?
Yeah, I changed it recently.
Yeah, cool. Well, hello Daisy. How you doing?
Hi, not bad. Yourselves?
Yeah, all good. Finally got some peace and quiet in your house now.
Yeah, just for now, but I doubt it'll last too long.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, thank you for coming on. I mean, the one thing I was really looking forward to speaking to you about was your ultra training, because have you done an ultra before?
So last year I was 30, and for my 21st I decided that to celebrate it I would join a marathon, because that was on my bucket list to do.
Yeah.
So turning 30, I figured I would try and run a 30-mile ultra race, like an entry one, but with a company called Off the Tarmac, and it was to go up and down the Penny Van.
Oh yeah.
However, because COVID struck, even though the lockdown was sort of lulled, it then sort of came back into force towards the end of October, so the race got cancelled. But I'd invested so much time and my family's time into doing it that with the support of my friends and family, I actually ended up doing it solo on my own. I did 6 5-mile laps, supported by a different friend or family member.
Wow.
On each lap, and ran it solo just to celebrate the fact that it was for my birthday, so I still got to do it, and it was really nice. And a friend of mine ran her first postnatal half marathon because she enjoyed the laps so much, and it was a really nice community experience, to be honest.
Oh, brilliant.
So not an official one, but I have ran one.
If it's on Strava, it's official. So
for sure.
Yeah, personally, I just think as long as you've done the distance, it doesn't matter if it's with a race, you've still done it, haven't you?
Oh no, and it was such a fantastic experience as well. It was wonderful to see all the training pay off, because an ultra might only be 27 miles plus, but you put in hundreds of miles before you even get to the start line. So it was fantastic to see it all pay off and to actually complete the distance.
Yeah.
And just get a taste for doing more and more.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll come back to that in a second. But where did your sort of running journey start? Have you at school were you a runner into athletics or anything like that?
So I used to. Where I lived was in Cheshire, and I joined the Harriers there and did athletics and cross country, and then did a little bit with Cheshire running at secondary school. And then I was in the military, so fitness was a huge part of it, but running especially always really appealed to me. As a kid, I used to watch my mum do the Great North Run, and just that finish line is something else. It really is. And you always used to inspire me. And then as I got older, unfortunately, I got quite ill due to sort of stress and lifestyle, and figured it was time to get back in touch with running. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I really sort of went back into it and kept at it, just for the sake of keeping healthy. And now it's just become more and more of who I am, which I really like.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I've only been seriously running for just over a year. And yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. I love it.
Yeah, it's something. I think it takes a special person to want to challenge yourself and get out there, even in the snow or the rain.
Yeah.
And I don't know, especially living in Suffolk, the wind seems to be something else. I've never been to a county that has such strong wind, but there you go.
So do you and Dan live near each other then? Do you?
Yeah, because
not far.
Yeah, because I work in Bury, so it's literally just around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think there's much space between us. Maybe just a couple of military bases.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, because I think you've actually run a couple of times with Karen, haven't you?
Yeah, with Karen. Yeah, she's awesome, an awesome woman. Really, truly inspiring as well.
Yeah, you're going to take up the barefoot running like she's started to do?
I would happily give it a try with her. I wouldn't say no to anything till I've tried it, but I don't know. I really like trainers.
Yeah.
I have a huge collection, so it'd be quite nice to keep wearing them.
Yeah.
But I've seen and read a lot about the barefoot running technique and thought, you know what, it's not a bad science behind it, but I don't know, maybe more for a beach than in and around.
I think that's probably the only time I'll run it for now, is on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, run into the bar to get another mojito or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the beer run.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. So obviously, you mentioned you sort of started back running. 4 years ago, was it? Did you say?
As an adult, yeah, but I did it as a teenager, and then it took what I'm going to say is a planned break for children.
Yeah. And I mean, do your children? How old are they? If you don't mind me asking.
2, 4, and 9.
Okay. So I mean, do they ever join you on? Well, maybe not the 2-year-old, but.
Yeah. So my son will run, or for quite some time now, I've been pushing a double buggy and running, and doing a lot of my training that way.
Oh.
But now he can ride a bike a little bit quicker and a little bit further, so I now just push a single buggy. But now my youngest, she's starting nursery, so slowly I've not ran as much with my buggy, which felt really sad as the end of an era.
Yeah.
I was chatting to Jess, who was the Buggy Runner's Diary and one of the Brooks runners, and we were saying, it feels really sad not to be pushing a buggy, but also quite liberating to finally have that time back.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword, but they love it. My son will run. My daughter, my eldest daughter, she loves doing a 1K loop. We've got like a trail just outside our house. She'll run it and try and time her, and she really does enjoy sports. So it's nice to see it rub off on them.
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant. My son, I mean, he'll be 4 next month, and only recently he started asking if he can come out for a run.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? It's just to know that you're just setting that example and that they want to do it. The fact they're asking and you're not having to, it prompts it is just a lovely response to showing them the way forward, that it's not in front of a screen 24/7.
Exactly. And I mean, before I started running, before my son was born, I started like just working out with the aim of him seeing me do it. And thinking that's the norm of what you do. And he's really taken to it. So sometimes, he comes into the garage when I train in there, or even though I was go over to the park and just have a mess about races. It's it's just nice to lead by example, isn't it? And keeps you healthy.
So yeah, it really is. And I have 2 girls and 1 boy, but the girls and the product of social media, which isn't something I grew up with, and not many of us obviously have, concerns me. I want them to see a healthy lifestyle and not just necessarily a picture of someone who's skinny and promoting this diet or this fad. I want my girls and boys, but especially my girls, because I know that social pressure's there, to see the exercise and cake and coffee and cocktails and having just a good time is all fine, but you just have to have a little bit of each.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you with that. And yeah, I mean, thank God I didn't grow up with social media, because I wouldn't want to. I don't envy kids now having to grow up with it.
It's easy to stop your parents now, like, oh, we'll just get the photo albums out. Like, absolutely not. You can put those away. Whereas with our kids, I'm like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, and to be fair, I think Instagram's quite good at that, sort of shielding you from stuff, because obviously you choose who you follow, don't you? So
I think so, yeah. And the running community on Instagram is something else. It's the most supportive place I've ever seen on social media. I've never seen anyone trolling or pulling anyone down, even the bad runs, the small runs, the slow runs, the fastest runs. Everyone's just really, really a community. And especially like the Wildrunners Strava group is always full of great little insights and topics. It's lovely to see how everyone comes together through sports on that platform, which isn't necessarily something you'd have associated with at the start of Instagram.
No, and I mean, I think just this weekend demonstrated how not just Wildrunners, but just social media in general. How like a group of people can just get together with less than a week's notice and cover the distance of Land's End to John O'Groats. Which was brilliant. Everyone was having a good time, supporting each other. And the effort people put in was absolutely incredible. Was it 18 miles? Did you?
Yeah, I found a new trail route, so I thought I'd try it.
Oh, just a little 18-mile recce going on.
That was I'd only got lost once, which is quite good for me. Even though I'd plotted it on Strava, I'd borrowed a map off my very good friend and had gone through the route with my husband the night before. I still got lost. It was one track. I don't know how I sort of managed to dive off it, but unfortunately the Euston estate, which is sort of between here and Thetford, are quite protective over their public footpaths, and there's not that many signposts.
Okay. So do you plot your own route? Is it OS maps that you use quite a lot?
So I use OS maps and just general knowledge. I'm awful for seeing a public footpath, driving to it and then just going to see how far it goes and where it goes to. Really lucky to have a nature reserve about 10 minutes drive down the road called Nettershore Heath, which is the start of the Peddars Way. It's the end of the Angles Way. It's got quite a few established like pilgrim routes that are now footpaths, which are they're all linear routes, which is a bit of an issue when you're on your own. But so what you do out, you have to then do back to the car, so you can't get too keen on the way out. But I'm really lucky. I love being on the trails, but unfortunately I don't get to them as much as I'd like to.
I know that feeling. The reason I was asking about the OS maps is because the app for your phone is really good. And so if you've sort of bought the map for your area, it gives you a digital download. And then it can pinpoint like where you are actually on the map, so you can kind of like figure out where you are.
So this is another example of my technophobes, and had no idea. The map I used over the weekend was a loan from a very good friend.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to steal it. She'd had a custom one done, which displayed all the footpaths in and around where we live.
Nice.
So, yeah, she's a very good runner. So I was like, I'll steal that for a minute, please.
Yeah, that's it. Photocopies.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but no, I'll probably just customize my own one from OS, which seems quite good.
Yeah, they do loads of cool stuff on OS now.
All of ours are of the Lake District, unfortunately, which isn't great when you live in Suffolk.
I know. I've got all Lake District, Peak District, and Snowdonia, but very few for my local area.
No.
So I'm similar with you. If I go on the trails, I either know them or it's like, right, I'm exploring today.
Yeah, it's just you have that beacon thing now, don't you, on Strava? So if I get lost, I just sort of send my husband a beacon, like, can you come pick me up? I'm 20 miles in and I don't know where I am.
Yeah. So is ultra running where you think you're going to sort of stay now? Is that you found your passion with that?
Yeah, I think so. It's something that I've really enjoy. I've never been the fastest, but I've always been the one that's been out on the track to the last minute, or just the person who does an extra 5 minutes. And I've always felt like the endurance to running more than the speed is where my passion for it lies. So I really enjoy ultra running. I like the challenges, the different style of events you can have, from mountains to open fields, South Downs Way. Any footpath has now become an ultra running trail, really, and it's fantastic. And I love how inclusive it is to everyone almost. It's brilliant. Having said that, I have got a place this year in the Great North Run, which is one of the events my mum used to do that really inspired me. Yeah. I've balloted for years for that, so it'll be a very slow half marathon because it's in between a couple of my ultras that I got postponed last year due to COVID. So it's going to be more of a Great North Run training run.
Shake out run. That's
yeah. But it's the ultra running distance is brilliant. So far, I've only done the 30 miler or 50k, but the races I've got this year go beyond that. So it'll be nice to try and establish a distance that will work for me.
Yeah. Which races have you got booked in?
So I've got I'm going to get the name of the company wrong. So it's UK Ultras, and that's a 100k race, so 62 miles along the South Downs Way. There's one local to here along the Norfolk coast, which is called the Sundown Festival. So you run dawn till dusk, and that's like a 80-mile run, but it is a fortnight after my 100k race, so it took the half sundown, so I only do half the day, which is 38 miles. I've got a funner one, which is a 24-hour trail relay, which is local to us in Thetford Forest, and I've got a little team, myself and 2 friends that are crazy enough to want to run for 24 hours with me. And then just some events towards the end of the year. It's really difficult, I think, with the COVID rejigging of events that were postponed from last year. I now seem to have big blocks in the calendar where it's sort of like 8 weeks, 3 races. Not too bad if it's only a half marathon, but I've got 3 ultras in 6 weeks, I think it is. So yeah, it's good though. I only have to do 1 round of training.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I like how you put a positive spin on that. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot of dedication to do it all with families. There's so many people I see that are just as crazy as me. I mean, I don't mind running at night. I'm quite lucky that I have some really safe routes for women to run around here. It doesn't matter if I leave at 9 o'clock at night, it's still relatively safe. But equally, I find myself getting up at like 5:30 on a Saturday morning, just to fit the miles in, and then still having to do some sort of like park event with my children. So it does take its toll, but it is so much fun.
What? Go on, Colin.
Sorry, no, go on, Dan.
I say, what? When it comes into your training for your ultras and that, do you plan your own training, or do you like get a coach, or how do you go about it?
So the first one I did, which I ended up doing solo, I researched online and wrote out a training plan that was what I thought would be good for me. So instead of it being miles and sort of pace based, it was more of a time on feet plan. Okay. So you'd have a 3-hour run instead of, say, maybe an 18-mile run, it would say 3 hours. But more recently, I've been very fortunate that I have a very good friend who is quite happy to look over my self-made plans, who is a qualified running coach, and she is fantastic, and she'll happily look at it and say, not too sure about that one, but maybe that's the way forward. So I have an unofficial coach, is the best way to put it. Just a very good friend who is a running coach.
Do you prefer having someone plan it for you?
For me personally, I like being able to plan it. I have a lot of family commitments, and it's nice to know what's on the agenda so that it doesn't impact our family life too much. It was sort of a deal I made to strike a balance. So it's nice that I can see what's coming. We can plan our weekends around it. We're quite an outdoorsy family, so 9 times out of 10 I finish a run, get changed, and then back outside on a bike ride or something. So it's nice to have it. I mean, I would love to have a running coach and things, but I'm not sure for me whether I could hand over that much control over my training. The feedback, I think, is 10 to none though. If you can have someone give you the feedback, then it's worth every penny. And it's something I have thought about, but I just haven't been able to sort of commit to.
Yeah, because I know, Colin, you just used the Garmin one, didn't you, for your half marathon?
Yeah. I mean, I only did that really because I'd sort of, I don't know, hit a bit of a wall with my training back end of last year. Just got fed up with races being cancelled. You know, I felt like I put in a year's worth of effort to try and get ready for, like, it was a Spartan Beast, so because I really wanted to do the Spartan Trifecta. So I put in so much effort, it got cancelled. And yeah, I was just like, is there really any point? I was just doing like 5k loops just because, and then just playing about, saw this Garmin coach, and I was like, actually, I've got, at the time I had the fan dance booked in for January, and obviously that's a half marathon, so I was like, I know, I'll do a half marathon plan, see if I can get quicker, just as something to do. And yeah, I loved it. I actually quite liked having a structure to, you know, rather than just going out and running a 10k loop, like going out and like, today you're doing a tempo run, today you're doing intervals, and I've definitely seen the benefit of it. But now that it's done, I am looking forward to a couple of weeks of just messing about, like
Yeah.
literally, going up some segments, but then I've learned how to. I'm such a technophobe. I've learned how to program my own like workouts into Garmin. So I'm sort of going to spend this week just programming loads of different workouts in, so that I can be like, right, Monday I'm going to do this. Tuesday I'll do hill repeats. Just keep up that sort of training, because it's definitely seen an improvement.
Yeah. I think I end up writing like 12-week blocks on a table. I have such a satisfaction for being old school and putting a tick or a cross in the box, like Monday. Like, for example, today was like 60 minutes easy. So it's like, once it's done, it's a big cross out, and I feel like I'm happy I've done it. So I definitely like having the set plan. But there's also times where I just want to go out and run 3 miles as fast as I can, just for the hell of it. So it's what running's about. Sometimes you want to do it because you love doing it, not because you're being told to run up and down a hill for 10 minutes. So it's a balance.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, I think I was talking to Antoinette a little while ago just about sort of like racing other people when you're running, and I do that all the time. But I like race a dog walker ahead of me. Like, I'm like, right, I'm going to get to that lamppost before you do. Or when I do hill repeats, a lot of the time there's they're doing the bins on that hill on that day. So I will try and do like 4 hill repeats before they get to the top of the hill.
I like
so
that.
It's literally make up little games like that with myself, just to, if it's something boring like hill repeats, because they are boring, they're not fun.
Yeah,
it's just something to do.
No, it's I like it. I like the Strava challenge. What the segments? The Strava segment.
Yeah.
Oh, because where we live, you either have to run, you have to run up a hill basically, either at the start or the end to finish. And I always choose the end because the start just feels like so much of a hurdle. But so I now know this sort of 0.8 of a mile stretch that is a Strava segment, and I cannot beat my time that I set like a year ago. And it's the one thing that I think, no matter how slow I should be taking it, as soon as I know I'm in that segment, I'm like, I've got to pick up the pace.
Yeah.
And it's silly how competitive you get with yourself over something so minor. It's the Strava segment.
You're talking to 2 people who were joking about driving to where they live to try and steal the other ones, like Strava crowns. So
I see no issue with that, to be honest. Healthy you need a challenge.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so when I'm allowed to travel down, I'm sure I'll find an excuse to go over to your neck of the woods and start doing some sprints.
Yeah, we can do that, and then we can find where Daisy's little stretches, and we can find his hills.
Oh no. It's like my only hill.
There's not many hills in Suffolk, so that I must be able to find it.
Yeah, I mean it's probably the only one within like a 3-mile radius of where I live, so it's not too bad. But no, it's lacking hills in Suffolk. It's the only thing that I do miss, but that's about it. There's lots of fantastic trails though. So, and Deptford Forest is just a really fun place to go and explore, whether you've got kids with you or not. If you're just running around cycling and playing on the big slide that they've got, like the big pyramid slide that you have to sort of climb up. Not that I would ever go down the slide without my children.
When they get a little bit older, you've got the Go Ape as well.
Oh, I did the junior one with my eldest, but I am petrified of heights. So that was tall enough for me. I mean, she flew around it, and I had to be the adult supervision, but I was about 6 obstacles back, so I wasn't happy at all. She thought it was hilarious, and I felt like I'd taken away the shine of Go Ape by sort of crying on the junior section. Or to get to the end and be told to jump off because it's a zip line. Like, but I've spent an hour now trying not to fall off. So yeah, not very good with heights.
No. Going back to when you're doing like your ultra training, what do you use for like your hydration? Do you have a hydration pack and gels?
So I have the Hoka running backpack, which is really, really good. In that I've got like a 1.5 litre bladder that I just put water in. I then have a soft flask which has an SIS caffeine tablet in, like the Coca-Cola flavoured ones, or just cola, I suppose. And then I use a mixture of random things. So I have the High Five berry gels, a few Voom bars for nutrition, and then I have some Scotch pancakes with frozen syrup, and some salted hula hoops, just because after a while, I think with anyone who does distances, the gels become quite sickly, the sugar becomes quite sickly, and you just want salt, lots and lots of salt, and just normal food. But equally, I've done some runs where I just physically can't eat, which is where the gels are just into their own. I mean, you can't go 6 hours just on gels, I don't think, personally. But it is something that I definitely struggled with start of ultra running. It's getting that nutrition and getting it to stay down on the go, which I think most people I've spoken to have. The Voom ones were really good because they were like the texture of a Kendall mint cake. So it's something to actually chew as opposed to the gels. But I found nothing beats just normal food. Just find something that works. I've taken like chicken wraps out before with hummus on and spinach, and it looks like I'm having some sort of like jogging picnic. Producing like a sandwich out of my hydration pack and all sorts of random just sweet treats. Percy pigs are another great sweet to have, but again, after a while, your body just does not want any more sugar.
That's something I'm trying to teach myself how to run and eat. Some of the races I've got this year, I'm going to need to. Normally I can't even eat an hour before I run. I just feel sick. So I was trying Ella's Kitchens, like the little baby squeezy things a little while ago, because gels don't agree with me at all when I've had them. So I've bought like some pouches that you can put your own stuff in. So I'm gonna start like sort of doing sweet potatoes and like just basically make my own baby food. See how that goes.
So a lot of the times the advice I was given from numerous people was just find something that you want to eat and then start off small. So just have a little bit of something, and then instead of an hour, 45 minutes, and then go for a run and build it up. But equally, every long run I do, I nutrition plan it so that is now part of my training and is just as important as the runs, because there'll be no point getting to race day and not have rehearsed the nutrition, because there's so much that can go wrong with it and so much depends on it. So that's just how I tackle it. I did some research where I sort of ran my ultra pace, desired pace I should say, for an hour to work out how many calories I would burn per hour, and then to work out how many calories your body would absorb without it being too detrimental, too much from your system. Is roughly between 200 to 300 depending on the person you are in your metabolism. A gel normally has about 200 calories, so on top of that then you just need to have something solid. So I find myself literally eating every half an hour, just because I would prefer to do maybe 70 calories and 70 calories and just keep topping up small, which I found works better for me personally and my stomach. Because if you throw it all up, it's wasted. So it's not going to help you, and it's going to dehydrate you. So anyone who does that sort of racing and worries for nutrition, it's definitely something that should be in your training plan just as much as the runs and the strength work and anything else, because you've got to really train your stomach to get used to it, and it's not a natural thing. When you run, your body shuts down your digestive system because it's not used. But the longer you run, the more you're going to need to take it on. So it's a real like double-edged sword. But definitely I started out with a piece of like toast and then slowly cut down that time till I would start my run. And then now it's okay. I'm not saying that I can have a roast dinner and then go smash out like a marathon, which I know a particular someone can, and I'm very jealous of her. But I still can. I've got a lot better by taking the time to actually sit down and just do a little bit, not a lot, but half an hour's worth of science behind it, and going, actually, what do I need? The gym. I don't think I've ever looked at how many carbs were in a Scotch pancake before I started ultra running, and things like that. It's a bit crazy, but now that I've done the research and found a few things that do work for me, I'm a lot more comfortable in what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like you've done a lot of research into it. I like how that is part of your training as well. I think that's probably something I'm going to take away from this. Start thinking of it, in that fashion.
Yeah, it was difficult to try and get your head around there, because you think, oh, long run, the gels will work, and it eventually, for me personally, and it sounds like for yourself, they just weren't working out at all. So it was really hit and miss. Some runs that I could keep the gels down, and other runs I'd have the gel, and then about 10 minutes later I would just have to be sick, and then the whole run sort of lost. Then for me, I've started to feel a bit dizzy and things, so I had to really sit down and go, right, well, we're going to have to sit and think how this is going to work. If this is the distance I want to do, I need to put a little bit of thought behind it, and not necessarily just rely on my legs to go.
Yeah, and the good thing I've heard about ultras, I mean, I've never done one. I would. It is definitely something I can see myself doing, so I'm fascinated by them. But I've heard that the aid stations can be like just a walking buffet.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably my main draw, to be honest. Anything where I can just eat and run.
Yeah.
You ask anyone who's ever ran with a buggy, I mean, especially with a toddler, that's like a rolling buffet. I mean, literally a rolling buffet for the kid, just so you can get some miles in.
Yeah.
I started to think, oh, so I'm quite jealous actually. I could sit and have a Jaffa cakes. So, but no, the aid stations are great. But again, a big things that I've learned is that you can't just rely on them. You have to plan your nutrition, because they might not have what you planned for. I'm really lucky that the 100k race I'm going to do is actually in partnership with High Five, which are the gels that I can and do agree with me. So I've got some support there, but in other ones that they're not the brand that's associated with the race. So I'll have to be pretty much self-sufficient, because I'm not going to try something new on race day. I swear that's like the golden rule.
And also, I suppose you've got to, when you're running that sort of distance, you've got to think about the weight of everything as well, haven't you? Because you're carrying it.
Yeah. So the weight, I mean, it does encourage you to drink. Like the more you drink, the less weight you're carrying. But it's definitely something that I've looked into. So like with the 100k race, the organisers are great. They've laid out how many k into the race each aid point is, so you can structure your plan around it. But yeah, you really do have to keep an eye on everything, check you're making just all the right liquids and things. I mean, I find myself looking at the watch a lot, not for pace, but more like, right, 15 minutes in, I need to drink, I need a pancake, and then 15 minutes time, I need to drink, and I need a gel. And eventually I'm hoping that'll become a bit more second nature, to be more in tune with what I need. But for now, it's going to have to be that sort of rhythmic structure, just to make sure that my stomach and everything else is ready. And it'll be a good test. But the aid stations, I mean, there's certainly going to be something that I look at and go, oh, that looks amazing. And I'd probably have some sort of like buffet fest on that. So it'd be nice. A lot of people drink like cola, like full fat Coke for the sugars, and I can't really imagine it. But then again, I suppose when you're like 40 miles in and you see a really cold glass of Coke, I'm like, oh, actually, I can see the appeal. So wait and see.
What sort of stuff do you do for your recovery? Do you do like much stretching? Because that's the one thing I'm really bad at. I neglect stretching big time, and I literally just rely on a muscle gun.
Yeah, so I have there's a 10-minute yoga program that I found on YouTube, which is just enough to hold my concentration, which seems to stretch all the right. the right muscles for me. It doesn't mean by any means that that's enough for the amount of mileage I'm doing. But my recovery is probably very, very poor compared to most people. But I have to fit it in around my family. So a lot of the time I will finish, like on Saturday, finish the 18-mile run, got in, got showered, got changed, and then the kids wanted to go out on a bike ride. So the bike ride was my recovery, which sounds nice enough, but I get to pull the trailer with both babies in. So it's not really much of an active recovery. But I do find, if as long as I stay on my feet and just keep mooching and walking around, it tends to just be enough. I've made some huge recovery mistakes, but I learned from them. And just not stretching at all and just sitting down straight after running is the worst, especially if the telly remote's nearby and you're deep into a Netflix sort of series. Time passes and before you know it, you can't move, or you're walking around like the Tin Man. And stairs are not your friend. Yeah.
No, I mean, I was going to say, I think from what you said, sort of like going on bike rides with the kids or just taking them to the park or the woods, you're just moving around. I think that's I mean, I don't do any stretching at all. I've got a massage thing, but I very rarely use it. I'm probably worse than you are, Dan, in terms of doing it. But I've got a soon to be 4-year-old, so as soon as I'm running around, playing with him. So I'm just moving. Moving, I think, is the key thing. Don't let his heart get stiffen up.
Yeah.
You need to make good use of your dustbin and fill it with water and jump in nice cold water when you.
I have no idea how you do that. So many people I just see doing their ice baths or just a cold shower, and literally I'm shivering looking at it. I'm like, oh god, no, not for me.
I'm with you. I'll save my cold water for the swims at races. I'm not doing that for fun. Like, no way.
I think the only time I've ever done it is during heat waves where I've still been out running and just sort of come back and the paddling pool's still up, so I've just gone and sat in it to cool down. But that's as close as I've got. But even that's not really nowhere near on par with what you see people do. It's really crazy.
You could always add that into a future challenge, Colin. Everyone has to do an ice bath.
Well, yeah.
I always have to talk you out of things with challenges, like the 300 kilometers, however 30 burpees a day. I'm gonna have this.
You can't do an ice bath challenge.
We'll get sued somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Something will happen, and then.
I don't think you can advise people to get in their wheelie bins either.
Yeah, I've put a disclaimer on that in case it tips over and they fall out.
I'm thinking more the germs or something, mate. I ain't going in my wheelie bin. No way, it's minging.
Absolutely not.
I don't think the council will give me a nice clean one just doing a nice bath.
But no, I do.
No, sorry, carry on, Daisy.
I was just going to say, I do see the benefits to it. It's just I physically cannot bring myself to get in one.
Yeah, I'm the same. Any cold water, I'll save it for race day and just deal with it then.
Absolutely.
Have you ever had any injuries or anything through your ultra running?
I suffered last year. I have a really old injury from playing rugby. I did a lot of ligament damage to one of my ankles, where the ligament was torn. Well, it was really torn off for quite some time, actually. And I managed to roll the ankle, or I did something on one of my runs. I may have been if I'm completely honest, I think I probably had overtrained and upped my mileage too fast, too soon. And my ankle was just absolutely out my right ankle was out for a good 6 or 8 weeks, which I know in running terms is a fairly quick recovery for any sort of ligament or muscle damage. But when you're seeing everyone else running, it feels like a lifetime. But otherwise, I'm really fortunate not to have had, touch wood, any serious injuries or falls or trips where I've had to really step back from running. I am a bit more aware of the necessity of a warm-up, even for a long run. So I tend to take that first mile easy, stop and stretch, pause the watch if I need to. I'm not as I suppose the best word is not as uptight with myself to make sure if it's 18 miles, it's 18 miles, or it's 20 miles, or it's 10 miles. if I'm 3 miles in and my calves are tight, I'm going to pause and just take 5 minutes to stretch them out and regroup. And I think it was a steep learning curve to not want to get injured again. Especially during like the past 12 months with COVID, I found the running and the release from sort of home and the children and my husband and things. It's nice just to have a little bit of me time, and there's absolutely no disrespect to them. It's just sometimes with homeschooling and everything else, that loads of people faced as challenges last year. Going out for a nice hour on your own really meant the world to me, and it made me, and a lot of other people I'm sure, realise how much running was such a big part of my mental health and of who I was. So I try my best not to get injured.
Yeah. I mean, how did you cope with the whole, the lockdowns that we've had and having the kids at home? How did you find it?
I started off as like Mary Poppins and slowly sort of edged towards someone like Maleficent, where I sort of ended up. I don't think I can look at any more fractions ever again. But yeah, it was a challenge. It was a lovely time to have 12 months with my children and being at home, and not many parents have that privilege to have that much time and no real schedule really. But equally, I love a good bit of structure in my day, and that school run I've realised really kept us quite grounded to not sleeping until 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. So it was nice, but enough was enough. Yeah. And I'm sure most parents of any school age will tell you, I mean, especially if you have children of multiple ages, because my eldest learning was online and my husband was still going into work, it meant myself and the 2 younger children had to be at home because we couldn't just leave her to get on with school and go out and do what we wanted to do. So it made us all sort of housebound until she had finished her schoolwork. And eventually you just start to go a bit sort of, you have, I think it's fair to say, less patience when it's like, well, you said you only had 2 questions and it's been an hour and we're ready to go to the park and you're telling me you haven't done any questions. I mean, we have spent 2.5 hours, I think, on one fraction problem before, just because she didn't want to do it. And I'm not a teacher. I'm pretty okay at maths, but I can't remember how I was taught. I think it was a real struggle for myself and maybe other parents, just to find that balance. And then remember thinking, she didn't want to do her schoolwork. We're not doing it today because I don't want it to affect my bond with my daughter. I'm not going to force her to do something she doesn't want to do. I don't know how to teach her. And those sort of days we sort of packed up and cycled, had a picnic and just did whatever, just got out of the house. But I think it was a real learning curve. I'm quite excited that I've got children that will probably study it in about 10 years time. So it'll be nice to know what we did wrong as a country.
Well,
I'm sure there's a list, but just in regards to COVID, I think it's been a real fascinating time to be alive and to live through. But I'm all vaccinated now, so quite smug.
Have you had both doses?
I had my first dose a couple of weeks ago, of the AstraZeneca vaccine, and then I've got another one when they ring for the next wave, as it were. But there was no side effects to it or anything like that. It was a really well done by my doctor's surgery of a sort of, you got on a very British queue, got a raffle ticket, when your number came up, you went and got a jab, and that was it. So it's nice to know that it's coming to an end. I think a lot of people now need this to be over, but I also feel like with the COVID thing, there's been a lot of positives. It's really highlighted the need to focus more on the country's mental health. It's given me a whole new respect for teachers, quite frankly. And it's really shown to me how much I do kind of miss having other people in my life. Just meeting a friend for a coffee or a walk, or going to like an English heritage site, or just having a little trip to the coast. It's made me really look forward to these events now, and I'll be happy to just move on with it all. And I think I'll stop taking things maybe so much for granted, because it's been 12 months where we couldn't do any of that, and I think it's quite nice to know that it's coming back and it's going to stay, hopefully.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things you think if someone would have said to you, you won't be able to go to your coast, or you won't be able to go see your parents, stuff like that, you'd think, yeah, okay. You know, it's like I said, it looks like we're coming towards the end of it. And I mean, you keep seeing these races coming on now, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
I just hope a lot of these companies survive. It's the only thing, because it's been hard for them.
Yeah, I think it's, as one of my friends was saying, it's been really interesting actually, just on a company and business point of view, to see what companies value staff over profit and profit over staff. I think that's really coming to the forefront. The ultra I signed up to last year for my birthday was only a small company called Off the Tarmac. They had to postpone all their races because they're a Welsh company, and Wales were a lot stricter with their lockdown rules, I believe. So I'm hoping that they'll have survived this, because it's a lovely little company that run really well organised events by all their reviews and the praise they've had. So it would just be nice, but also it'd be nice to know that your local pub survived as well, because it's just one of those things. You just want everything to return to normal, but if some businesses haven't survived, then it's a real lesson in maybe they needed more help. But it's so difficult. I mean, how do you navigate through something that you've never been through?
Yeah, so I mean, either way, the country was never going to win, was it?
No.
I mean, no matter what they decided to do, lockdowns and stuff, you know, like I said, we've never been here before. And I think because it's affected the whole world and not just us as well. I love it.
It'd be nice to see everything returning, and the fact that races are now being brought forward again, and like 2021 entrants are opening. You sort of feel really, really happy that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The only thing that I feel that maybe as a personal opinion is that a lot of races last year were postponed. Major events like London and things, I don't feel personally that there's been a lot of thought into what events should run at what weekends, because I know a lot of people now are really booked up, or have lots of events which should have been spaced out over a year now in the space of 8 weeks. And you, as someone who loves, I just love the day, like a race day, the feeling, the camaraderie and everything else that goes with it. To defer a race again the next year and wait 2 years, I just feel it's really bittersweet. So some of the, I know a lot of people calendars are very much like hopping to and from races, but then I suppose it's just another hurdle in the COVID challenge. Which isn't one for you guys. You don't need a COVID challenge.
That's not going to happen.
That was trying to get hold of like toilet rolls a year ago. That was the challenge.
I wonder if those people still have it.
I'd have thought so.
I wonder if they gave it away as Christmas presents, just in case.
Yeah, it's great. I think it was a year ago this week, wasn't it? Our first lockdown, I think.
It was. So the schools shut a year ago, Friday just gone, but the date would have matched Saturday, but that was the last day they were in schools, and then they didn't go back till September.
Yeah.
So yeah, so much. You think it's only 12 months ago. It was crazy. And for the first 3 months of this year, like Instagram's just been teasing me with, here's what you did a year ago. It's like, oh, come on. So yeah, it's always a challenge.
So I mean, moving back to your ultra races, is there like a particular race that is like top of your bucket list of ultras that you'd like to do?
So yeah, so the two races that I've really focusing on this year with the 100k and the Sunset Festival have what's called UTMB points for the Ultra Trail de Mont Blanc, which is a really unique race. You have to earn points to enter, and then you enter it. That doesn't guarantee you entry. You have to ballot. I don't want to do the full thing because I don't think I'm there yet for a 100-mile race. It's probably a bit too much for me. So the CCC is another 100k, sort of like the sister race to the main event of UTMB. So that is my goal. These 2 races will give me enough points for that this year, which means I can start balloting next year and hopefully get it in the bag. It would be great to do. I've toyed with other ones like Marathon de Sadler, but anyone who knows me will tell you I have a huge hatred of sand. So it's not really going to be for me. There are loads of other things I would love to do. I got a road bike last year, my first ever road bike, and I've been loving going on Swift during the winter, and I loved getting out last summer. So I'd like to try and work on my swimming and maybe enter sort of like a novice triathlon, and just sort of keep going through all the endurance disciplines that I can manage. But the UTMB is a huge one for me. It's one that's really sparked all this ultra running off, to be honest. I got given a book called Rise of the Ultra Runner, and it just absolutely sparked it off. I couldn't stop. So I made a plan to find the points for the race, and that will be that challenge, and then maybe get the points and come back and do the full thing once I've done the CCC.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's good to have goals like that. Have you ever looked at the Lakeland 50 or 100 mile ones?
I looked at the Man versus Lakes, I believe is one.
Yeah, I'm doing that this year.
Yeah, I can't have anything that involves self-navving, as we've explained.
Yeah.
I get lost very easily. However, I probably just need to work on it. I would love to do something in around the Lake District. It's just I have to plan these events and balance them around my husband's career because he's in the military.
Wow.
And so he goes away a lot, and juggling the children and childcare. So I try and restrict going too far afield to only a couple of events where we sort of turn them into like mini family breaks.
Yeah.
So the kids get quite excited now when I say event at a big race, because they know it's like a little holiday. Like, oh, where are we going?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, the Lake District ones look fantastic. There was one that was quite local to my parents near Bakewell, which looked really fun. But it's getting the elevation training living in Suffolk. I know there are hills, it's just there's no mountains.
Yeah. yeah, it is hard. I mean, there's not massive. I mean, there are hills, so right near me, but I'm just like, right, so I'm running up and down them for an hour.
Yeah, I think there's a big I mean, the Dragonback race is another one that I think would be really cool to do, but I'm not sure I've got the I don't think I've got the balls to do it at all. It looks so emotionally taxing as well as physically. I love watching it though. There's some ultra events that I would love to do, and there's some that I'd love to just go follow it around and cheer people on and just be a happy spectator and things like that. But no, to go back to your question, the UTMB is probably my next big goal, and then I'll go on from there.
You ever fancy doing the Pennine Way? See if you could run that?
Yes and no. So my parents live in Cheshire, and my husband's parents live in Bolton, and it's just too close to home.
Okay.
I'd feel like I just want to go home and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
But as a family, we have ambitions to complete all 214 Wainwrights together.
Oh yeah.
We're 6 down, so we'll see how it goes.
I'm trying to do them myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm at 109, I think.
Well, we have to keep bobbing back.
Yeah, well, my sort of unofficial aim is I want my last one to be my son's first.
Oh,
that's kind of like what I like to do, and I know which one I'm saving one spell at Ambleside.
Okay.
Basically, you can walk down, you're at a pub straight away. So
yeah, you can do that at Coniston as well. Is it the sunrise in or sunset in?
yeah, I've done pretty much all the ones around Coniston. So, but yeah, I was like, I like Ambleside. So I'm like, right, I'll save that one. It's kind of by itself because I quite like doing big loops and linking a load of them together.
Saddlebacking, is that the term?
Yeah.
Oh, not great. I'd happily finish at Ambleside just to go get some gingerbread. That's absolute life.
Yeah.
I love it. That anyone in my family will tell you it's a absolutely disgusting how quick I can eat all that gingerbread. It's horrific.
That is the best gingerbread around.
They're not lying. They really aren't. It is the best in the world. I think our favourite was Winrig. That was my first one, and I really enjoyed Winrig, which is Wadsdale. So
I don't think I've done that one yet. I've done Newbarrow and Scarfell Pike.
Oh, we did Newbarrow last year. Not last year, the year before, sorry. Newbarrow was good fun.
Which way did you go up and down it?
Through the Great Gate. So we rock climbed with 3 children just because health and safety. Yeah, we were pretty okay with that. I want to do the Gable. The Gable was a big one for me to try and get done. I've just not had a chance to fit it in yet at all. I just love how it's the Lake District Mountain. It was the first one, so it'd be nice to get that one done. And then I did have big ambitions to do Scarfell last year for my birthday, but alas. So I'm going to keep that one just for now and see when we can fit it in.
If you get up there, a nice sort of route to do is the Fairfield Horseshoe. And so you can literally walk from Ambleside to the start of it, and it takes in, I think, just basically a big sort of U, where you following all these just ridges around this valley. When I say ridges, I don't mean like sharp edges or anything like that. It's easily, it's all well pathed and everything. But you can tick off like, I think it's 8 or 9 Wainwrights just on that one route, and then you end up straight back in Ambleside, and you walk down the road and you buy a pub. So that's a really good route to do.
Oh, it's a really magical place, the Lake District. It's proper where I feel at home, to be honest. And I have no idea why. That's Scarfell Pike behind me, actually. I've noticed, yeah. It's I like the idea of being cut off. There's probably next to no phone signal, so as a family, you really have to just engage. And we're really quite outdoorsy, so the children have all done. My youngest, who's 2, she's done 2 Wainwrights. But she's not. She was on my back.
Yeah.
I'm not saying at the age of 3 months she rocketed it up. Helm Crag or the Lion and the Lamb, whichever way.
Yeah. Helm Crag. Yeah.
Yeah, that was her first.
That's a really cool one to do as well, because
nice.
They're so iconic. Those rocks at the top, aren't they?
We were having a good little, like, my eldest was in her element, thinking it was like a rock climbing festival. Yeah. So she has absolutely no concept of the danger of a mountain, just straight up. Yeah. No, I really liked it, but yeah, Newbarrow was probably our most precarious route. The Great Gate is not the way forward with children. You have to cross the scree, so it wasn't. No. It's an ongoing joke now for us that my husband doesn't plan any more mountain routes.
Well, when I did that, because when I got married, we decided we'd not have Wainwright's names as our table names for our wedding. And we needed 2 more, so we both picked one each. I chose Helvellyn, and then my wife, who's not really into it, she just looked at the names. She was like, "Oh, Newbarrow seems quite nice." Now, I knew that the side near Wasdale was like full on scrambling. So we walked up the valley thinking we'll come over the back of it. But we got there and it's like rock climbing to get up there. But when we got there, someone was coming down and this woman was in tears. And I'm just there like going, oh no, she's going to back out of it. But she did it. She didn't like it. And she said she'll never, ever go up that mountain ever again.
So I think when you get to the summit, you can go down a grass path, which most people sort of zigzag. We sort of overlooked that and went straight over, and were passing children down between rocks, basically. It wasn't a great idea.
So you were coming down the face that's looking towards the lake?
No, we went up the lakeside.
Okay.
So where the National Trust car park is.
Yeah. You went up that
one.
We
went up there.
Yeah.
Straight up, and then we sat at the top, and then instead of at the summit coming down the grass track like everyone else was, we thought we'd make our own path through the rock face, which is facing towards the gable, I want to say, so it was facing like that way as you look at it.
I think we went up and down the opposite ways. I think
Yeah.
I think you probably went down the way I went up, and then vice versa.
Yeah, it was only one of the very few times I've generally thought, yeah, we've made some poor choices here as parents. But no, it was all fine. And then we were camping, so we just cycled back to the campsite. We're staying at Nether Wasdale, so it wasn't too far. Nice to do it all without a car. So it was lovely. And Wasdale Lake is just beautiful. It's such a peaceful place to be.
Yeah, it's stunning, isn't it?
I'm very jealous of people that have it on their doorsteps.
Likewise. Dan, how are we doing time-wise, mate? I don't know. What did you?
We've got, I think there's 15 minutes left on that.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, we did have some questions that some people responded to. You okay if we go through them? Yeah.
If I can, I will.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so the first one, sort of, we've kind of covered these, I think. How long have you been a runner for?
So as an adult, since about 2014. So that's when I suffered. So I was really stressed, going through a bit of a rough time, and ended up having a small vascular microbleed on my brain, so a very small brain hemorrhage, which was just due to stress, and it was enough to sort of spark back in me a desire to want to just be fitter and healthier. So 4 years ago, but I had my last child in 2018. I've tried to keep active during my pregnancy, but within reason, only what was comfortable. But that's probably as an adult, and then throughout my childhood, it was a big deal for us as teenagers, and then it's always been there, but running probably about 4 years ago.
Then the next one is, do you experience any walls? I'm reading that as in like any sort of, roadblocks in your training, dips, anything like that. That's how I'm reading that.
Yeah, so in two senses, when I'm out on a long run, I do experience like the dreaded wall as runners get, where I've just literally had enough of running. Everything hurts and it's cold. And that is that's the times that I don't look forward to, but I know that will make me stronger in the future. I have to just keep put one foot in front of the other. I slow my pace down. And I'm not against just stopping and just having a quick shake off, taking on some water, resetting my mindset and going again. In regards to training, I do hit some blocks where I think I just don't. Mile reps. I don't, if anyone actually enjoys mile reps, and I'm really sorry, but it is the most horrific training session to me to do mile reps. It's awful. It's such a bad distance to try and run as fast as you can multiple times. There are days I look at it and I write my own plan, so it's not like I've got anyone else to blame. But and there are days I think I just don't want to get out there, but I generally do think to myself how lucky I am to have that opportunity to go out there and actually run, have the support of my family, have safe routes. That means I can run at any time of the day. So I try not to let those walls overwhelm me, but I'm only human. There are other days where fine, I'll go grab a beer and we'll sit and watch a film and the training can wait. And I think it's really important to respect both the need to kick yourself out the door and the need to step back and go, you know what, tomorrow I'll enjoy it more if I take today off.
Yeah, pretty agree with that. And the last one we've got is, do you have a set training routine? And if yes, is it one you planned yourself?
Yeah, yeah, it is one I plan myself. So I do easy runs on a Monday. I do a session on a Tuesday. I don't run on a Wednesday. I tend to either get on my bike and Zwift with the other members of Team Huxon, or I take the day to stretch and just chill. Thursday tends to be easy miles, and Friday is a medium sort of length run, or 60 minutes easy, or hill reps. And then Saturday's my long run day, and I don't run Sunday because it's family balance. One day that we can just do whatever.
Yeah.
I find Sundays a really, really tough day to try and motivate yourself.
Yeah. I'm the same. I don't normally do any sort of exercise on the Sunday.
No.
So like this week, I didn't want to go out yesterday, but I did. But I was like, it's just going to be very run, walk, just to get some miles in.
Yeah, but I do find writing my own training plans, and again, it's no disrespect to anyone who has a coach, helps me get the flexibility into my schedule that I need, so I can write it in around my family life instead of trying to get the family to fit around the running schedule, which really helps keep it all level. It's not more running than family. It's not more. There's no mum guilt associated with it. I know that that's my time, and I've scheduled it around, doing whatever else was on the calendar, so to speak.
Yeah, and also I think the example you must be setting for your children is brilliant. With the dedication to not only go out and do it, but to learn what you've done, to be able to write down your own plan in nutrition. That's such a good example to set up, I personally think.
Yeah, so when I did my solo ultra, where I did the 6 5-mile laps, my first lap was with my eldest daughter. She was on her bike, and she really wanted to do that, either the first or the last lap with me. She was really keen to help out and say that she did some of it with me. So it does show, and I love, like we were saying about before, I love them volunteering to do these sort of things and to want to be active. It's not something I put on them to do, it's what they want to do, and it's it's worth more than any medal or any t-shirt. It's a real big thing to know that I'm setting that positive mindset for them. But my eldest is nearly 10, and she sees the difference in a bad day, and then you go for a run and you come back. She knows it's not all about being the fastest or going for the furthest. It is about getting out there and doing something that makes you feel like, yeah, you know what, I've got this today. So I think that's an important message that I want to definitely give to my children. There are other times that they're just generally embarrassed by the fact that I run past the house because my Garmin says like 9.7. And my daughter's like, can you not just give up? I'm like, no one can give up. It's too much.
yeah. On the estate where I live, it's basically like a big loop.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I come back and I'm like you say, like 9.7, I'll be doing. I call them twat laps. I'll just do laps around the estate. And like, right, 10, good, thank you.
It reaches the point where I can look at my watch as I come into like where we live, our little estate, and know which route I need to take back to my house to make up what I need.
Yeah.
It's a really sad point in my life that I can tell from so-and-so's house, oh wow, that's 0.7 from my door, so I need to make up 0.3. So if I go around here, it's what I've become. And I'm okay with it now.
It's like a runner's OCD or something, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
But then equally I can leave it. So if I've written on my plan 60 minutes and then it's like 6.67 miles or something, I'm like, yeah, I did 60 minutes, it's okay. It's kind of like that thing at the petrol pump where you either go for money or fuel, like litres. Yeah. No one, I mean, it's very rare you get the holy grail of both matching.
Oh no, but no, when you do, that's a picture then, isn't it? To share with people.
You celebrate, you might as well get it framed, put it up next to your children's school picture.
Yeah. One today.
Yeah, I think they've got it to a tier. I think, is it Runners World that always put up the little jokey sort of captions on Instagram where it's like, oh, Daddy, why is Mummy running past the house? Because she's misplanned her run and has to make up the extra mile. Yeah. So yeah, it's a joke I have with a friend of mine, Jo. She'll happily get to her house and stop, and it drives me insane. And I swear now she does it just to bother me. But I'm like, no, if we go for a run together, or as we call it, like a work meeting, I will stop at her house. But she knows that I'll make up what I need to make up to round it up, and she just laughs at me. There's no training benefit to it. It's just it looks nicer on my stats.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've got 4 questions that we want to try and ask every guest that comes on. So, the first one is, you know, what brand of running gear, you know, is your favourite? Do you have a go-to brand that you'd always go to?
Not necessarily. There are certain brands that I won't. So there are certain brands that I will have for particular items. So trail shoes, I will go to Solomon. I'm rubbish at pronouncing things.
Solomon, yeah.
Yeah. Just because established, they're just untouchable, and that sort of criteria for like fell running and everything else that they specialise in. For most kit though, I'm pretty flexible as long as it works. It just has to do what it says on the tin. I can't stand if you get some. I appreciate you guys are blokes, but you're gonna have to. I can't stand having shorts that don't stay up or roll up at the legs. And need things to fit the way they say they're going to fit, because that's what I go for. Over a brand, I would happily go for something that just fits the way it's meant to.
Yeah. No, I fully get that. If you're going to be stuck on a desert island and you can run on this desert island, what one bit of workout equipment would you take with you?
My watch, my Garmin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only because it cheats and it plays music as well, so I could still have my sound.
Yeah. Okay. So you can still listen. Yeah.
I can still play music, but yeah, my watch.
Cool. Well, that actually leads on to the third question. What do you listen to when you run?
Oh, it varies from podcasts to audiobooks. I have 2 playlists. One's like the faster runs, and one's just nice music for running around to. But for longer runs, it'll be a podcast or an audiobook. For at least the first hour, I find that I can't listen to music for more than an hour or so before I get annoyed, and I'm just literally playing like the intro game. So yeah, but a mixture. But anything under an hour would be music. Anything over an hour is a combination of podcast, audiobook, and music.
Yeah. And then lastly, what one bit of advice would you give to a new runner?
Do your own thing and don't ever compare it to anyone else's running journey. Distance, miles, pace, reps, anything. Just be proud of yourself for getting out the door, because I think that's the hardest step for any runner, whether you're an elite or an amateur. Getting dressed and getting out the door is the worst part.
Yeah, fully agree with that. Have you got any other questions, Dan?
No, I think that's all our questions, isn't
it? Yeah. Anything you want to ask us, Daisy? Sorry, we've been asking you loads of questions. Anything?
I did have one question geared up for you guys, and okay. I wanted to know what was the motivation or inspiration for you starting your Wildrunners movement? What sparked it? I know you're both keen athletes, and I don't deny it. I just wondered what made you go for it.
I think you better answer that one, Dan.
Yeah, kind of like I set it up with Sven, who does all our websites, everything. He does all our stuff. We're still trying to get him to go out for a run. We're working quite hard on that, but he's, we will get him out there. We started off a few years ago with Mud Brothers, which was in the obstacle racing, and we found, we was just like laughy, jokey type of stuff. And then with the lockdowns, I kind of felt we had no races, we had nothing going on. And I was thought, I love to go out, and I find like seeing people out motivates me. So that's then I've always kind of like had this vision of setting up a community, but it was just finding the time. So with the lockdown, and I thought now's the perfect time. If I don't do it now, I won't do it. So we've got Sven involved, and then we've got Colin on for the last few months. And Colin's like the one who said about doing the podcasts. And to be honest, I've done it for fun, and now it's turned into such a good community that, I don't regret nothing about it. I mean, it is hard work at times, spend a lot of evenings on social media.
Because it's not like you didn't have enough on at the minute.
No, I know. No, so it's like just get home, help Mandy with the baby. And yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for Mandy because she's got the baby all day, and I come home, take him off her for a few hours, and then like we get times like now, which is she's still got the baby, so she gets no break. But it's just finding that balance, and she's starting to get more involved in it, which is good. And she's going to want to start to do some like live videos and workouts. So it's really good that she's started to get involved as well.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so it's just it's just seeing people that don't normally go out running, and then you've got like people like even like yourself, you motivate people to go out, to get off that sofa. And I think like for you, seeing you out with your buggy and that, I think that inspires a lot of people. Because a lot of people would say, oh no, I can't go out, I've got the baby at home, whereas there's you out there with the baby in the buggy, so you're like living proof that that's just an excuse. You can still go and do these things.
It's just I think for me, I really love the community you've set up. It's made social media friends. I mean, I'll call them friends because I've just found so many people to connect with, and more just to give you guys a bit of feedback that it's a lovely safe place, from the Strava group to the social media pages, where people really do ask and support each other. And I think especially over the past 12 months, that's been really crucial. I've not necessarily reflected on how much I've really appreciated that, and not necessarily thought of all the background that goes into it. So I appreciate it. So thank you very much.
I think Colin's starting to regret coming on board now. The amount of time he's spending on Instagram and stuff.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm working my notice, mate, so I'm okay at the moment.
Oh no, it's and then my other question I wanted to ask you guys was if you have a favorite running distance and a distance that you would say absolutely no way to. So the best and worst distances you could think of racing.
Go on, Colin, you go first on this one.
So trail, I'll probably go half marathon. Obstacle course, 10k. The worst, it would probably be an obstacle course 5k, just because you've got to go flat out and you can't mess up, and it hurts. So,
how many obstacles would there be on a 5k, like roughly? I've never done an obstacle race, but they look horrific.
It varies. You're probably looking about 20, do you reckon?
About 20, yeah. I thought, yeah.
I mean, so it depends where you go. Some people will class just jumping over a log as an obstacle. Like, so it's where they're like, 20 proper obstacles where you've either got to, do a swim or go on some monkey bars. Like, that's where it hurts, man, because you're going, and I'm like, I don't know what you've done. I'm nowhere near fast enough to the elites or anything like that. No. But, you still go out as fast as you can, and it hurts.
Yeah, see, I personally, I hate 5Ks. Like, I can quite happily go out and run half marathons. I think by the time I've got changed, put my trainers on, I don't see the point in a 5K. But that's just, I've always been really good at long distances. So I don't know. I think half marathon, similar to Colin, half marathon is probably my go-to. I'd probably say 10K is my, probably if I was to be competitive, that's probably the one I could probably go for, like obstacle racing and stuff. But I did the ultra in Scotland Spartan race, which was 33 miles. And I think that probably pushed me the hardest I've ever been pushed. I'd like to go a little. I'd like to do more than that, but I haven't. My issue is I haven't found that thing that's like stopped me. I haven't been able to finish.
Yeah.
I just need to push a little bit further, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a sign of anyone who I think runs. You're always looking for that. What will beat you? What will actually get you down? So we had it here first. So was it 33 miles you said you did on obstacle racing? So any further?
Well, yeah.
You've set yourself up now.
I've always said I'd like to do an Ironman. That's been my goal, but I can't swim. I mean, I'd like to think I could sit on a bike for that amount of time, but it's that swim section. I know
it'd be the transitions. I think that I'd trip over my own like running shoes. So it's not something I could do. But yeah, a lot of people that are on the Huxon team with me do the Ironmans, and they're just absolutely superior. The amount of hours that goes into the training for that is far more than any ultra. So I think that'd be an awesome challenge.
Yeah, like I said, here's the thing, isn't it? It's getting that training in with work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And family life. It's just one of them things. It's just not going to happen for a few years anyway.
No, but for someone that's got older children, it gets easier. I'm not going to say it gets easy, but it gets easier. Yeah. No, I didn't have any other questions for you guys other than thanks for having me, and it's been nice to see the.
It's been great.
No, thank you for coming. Where can if people don't follow you, where can they, what's your like Instagram handle and what have you?
So I only have Instagram, and it's just running.daisy with an underscore at the end, and it's just a really honest account of how I feel, how my runs go, and if it helps inspire some people, that's amazing. But it was just there to hold myself accountable for getting out there, whereas now it's more like a journal where I just sort of take a picture and waffle on about what I've done and how well it went.
Cool. Right. Well, yeah, I'm good. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Yep. Thank you, guys.